So, no, thank you, Ellie, for agreeing to join us today for our members at Camden Scottish Swimming Club. I think it's a great opportunity to learn from one of the best to ever do it. And I think we've got 15 questions in total. So let's get started, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, no, it's been nice to be part of Camden now for over 2 years, and be in London and be part of such a great team. Yeah, training with you, Adam, and also the whole team being part of it. It feels like, yeah, I'm part of one of you guys, and it's been really fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to answering all these questions that you sent, that the team
Perfect.
sent over.
Thanks, Ellie. So question number one, we had quite a few people ask this. It's what or who inspired you to become a swimmer?
So I'll start back to how I got into swimming. So I'm one of the youngest of five. Um, my parents took us to learn to swim places. I remember sitting at the sidelines, watching my sister and my brother swim, and yeah, next thing you know, it was my stage to learn to swim. And I remember it was a learn to swim, but also a competitive club as well. So Bolmere Swimming Club is where I learned to swim, but then also started competing too. And it was a sport that I just took up straight away. I was a kid that hated being bored. I liked to be doing something all the time. Like each night after school, I was doing some sort of activity, ballet and dancing, stage school and swimming. And next thing I know, I wanted to go up at each level. So I'm sure a lot of you guys, stage one, learn to swim, stage two, you get your 50-meter badge, you get your 100-meter badge, and I just wanted to keep getting all my badges. And then the head coach from the competitive side came and looked at, was picking people to go up to the next level, and he came and picked me to go start competing. And I started swimming for them, and each time I'll be like, oh, Mom Ashley told me if I want to be a better swimmer, I've got to do 2 times a week, 3 times a week. So each time I was just ended up getting rid of all my other activities that I was doing, and swimming just gradually took over. It wasn't a time where I was like, oh, I really want to be a swimmer. I was just swimming more and more, and then each night I was swimming. And then it wasn't really and then I used to swim for Bolmere Swimming Club on the weekends at galas. At the time it was called Diddy League. I was racing for them. I was on one of their teams. And I just loved competing, and that's when my competitive side came out. But then I realised there was a bit of as I was getting older, 11, 12, there was a bit of a disadvantage. I was realising that actually, if I want to do this longer term, I can't compete against people that are able-bodied. I've got to look for disability competitions out there. And I think it wasn't really till watching Athens 2004 Paralympics that I realised that there was disability competitions, and that we had a thing like the Olympics, and there was the Paralympics. So watching Nairi Lewis get a gold medal, I remember sitting on the sofa 8, 9 years old thinking, gosh, I remember asking my mom, oh my God, how'd you go to the Paralympics? How'd you get a gold medal? How old do you have to be? And they asked her loads of questions. And she was like, oh, you can be any age, you just got to be really good at what you do. And I think as a kid, that natural switch, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. I want to be a Paralympic gold medalist. And I think that's when inside, my fire grew, and my dream was set that I wanted to go to a Paralympics, and I wanted to get a Paralympic gold medal.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's how it all started, and that's who inspired me. So it was just sitting on the sofa. I hear lots of people sitting on the sofa, they watch Wimbledon or they watch London 2012 and they get inspired. That was just me. I remember watching the Olympics and Paralympics in Athens and got inspired to want to go to a Paralympics. And to think 4 years later I was going to my first one in Beijing. I don't know, it all just went so fast. I don't know how I got there in some respects.
Now, that sounds like a very holistic approach, and sounds like you've got a great network of family support behind you, which is obviously necessary to be able to do that.
Yeah, usually.
I know you made a big move over to Swansea, right? Was it
Yeah.
11?
Year 12, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and that was 18 months before you competed in your first Olympics, was it?
Yes, it was. So I went to my first World Championships in 2006, qualified just in the summer, so unexpectedly. As a kid at that age, you're doing PBs left, right, and centre, and I did a massive PB to qualify for Durban 2006. And at that stage, I realised like British swimming and my parents and my coach Ashley, but then at the time I wanted to swim with a great coach. I got friendly with a good coach called Billy Pye, and
Mhm.
at that time Swansea was a high performance centre for Paralympic swimming, as well as Manchester and Stirling. And I really clicked with Billy, and British Swimming said to me, if I really want to swim well and get like have the chance to go to a Paralympics, that I need to like make that move to Swansea to swim with the team there. um we thought things through, we worked out all situations, so decided for me and my mom to move to Swansea, move school at the time. It was really lucky how it worked out, as my siblings next to me, my sister was moving to university, my brother was moving out, and my other sisters had houses of their own, so it was just the right perfect time to make that move to Swansea. So me and my mum on Monday to Saturday morning would go to Swansea, and then the weekends we would drive back home to our family home in Aldridge for the night, and then Sunday night we would drive back. I love Swansea. It was one of my best times in my career. We had that group of like, there was 12 of us at the time, all going towards Beijing and then London. And I loved the school there, living on the beach. It was perfect. It was a great move, and yeah, we have to make these sacrifices. But I don't think I would have got to Beijing, or even did what I did, like coming away with 2 gold medals in Beijing, if I hadn't made that sacrifice. And I was very lucky at the time that my parents were fortunate, like not fortunate, but were in that with me in the support system, that we could make that decision together, and they were there supporting me all the way. Plus, it wasn't just me in the talking point, it was making sure all my other siblings were okay with the move as well, because my mom was coming to move with me, like that splits the whole mother and father situation. So luckily enough, like we talked about it for months, and yeah, I'm very lucky that they supported me with that decision too.
Wow. Well, I don't think many families would have wanted to do that, or been able to do that. So yeah, it sounds like you got such an amazing support system that it all fell into place for you at a perfect time.
Yeah, definitely it
Right.
did.
So
It was really good, and
good.
they are great. Like they've followed me all the way. Like they try and go to every Paralympics, every World Championships. I've always got them in the crowd. They're like my little. It's nice to have the parents, the family members supporting you all the way. Even at 25 now, I still like knowing that they're in the crowd.
For sure. No, that's great. Thanks, Ellie. Moving on. One of our younger swimmers asked, "Where do you keep all of your medals?"
So yeah, it's funny at the time when you get the medals, like for example with London 2012, my first gold medal in the 400 free. I remember receiving it and like not wanting to like lose it. Like I remember holding on to it all the time. Like I put it under my pillow in the village, making sure I had it all the time. It was like one of my most prized possessions. But now as I get older and like I forget sometimes where they are. So, but um, a lot of times they either with me in London or they're here in my parents' house. I try and make sure I know where they are sometimes, so people want to see them. But majority of the time, they're actually at my parents' house. In like a display cabinet with all my other achievements, plus my like OBE and my BBC Young Sports Personality and World Championships medals. There at the moment, they're here in London.
So quite a
Oh, no,
collection then.
in Birmingham, not in London. They're
Um,
here in Birmingham, sorry. I was like, yeah, where am I?
So, question number 4:
Yeah,
do you ever get nervous before racing, and if so, how do you cope with those pre-race nerves?
I always get really nervous for major competitions, especially trials and like a majors like World Championships and Paralympics. I sometimes worry if I don't get nervous, but for me, it's like my nerves are like my adrenaline. Like I'm really nervous for the call room, and then once our names get called out, but then once I'm on the block, my nerves go away and I'm just so in the moment. I think it's trying to realize how to cope with your nerves and use it in the best possible sense. Like I try to just breathe, I try to listen to music, try to relax. Like I'm not one that really likes to talk in the call room. I like to just be in my own mind. But everyone uses their nerves in a different sense. Like some of my teammates, they like to talk all the time. Others, like my one of my teammates, Hannah, she goes to the toilet like every 2 minutes. It's like, it's just trying to like know what's best for you and know what works. For me, I just try and have like a routine. Like I do myself a little timeline, so I know where I need to be, just to try and control those controllables in nerve sense. So something that like I'm in control of it, so I know what's happening. Yeah, but nerves, I think sometimes you've just got to deal with it. And just like my dad, when he's nervous, he used as a kid, he used to throw up. It's just being wary of it, like, and knowing what's best for you and like what works well for you. And we all get nervous in some sense, but it's just your body getting ready. It's the fight and flight mode kicking in, I think. Not like I'm a psychologist, but yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's a great way to explain it, absolutely. So you mentioned that you control the controllables. So what would your, if you don't mind, what would your typical pre-race ritual look like, if you can explain it in that way?
Yeah, so I normally get to the pool about, I hate being like late. So one of my panics, if I'm late for something or rushing, like it really panics me. So I love to have plenty of time. So I normally get to the pool about 2.5 hours before my race.
Mm-hmm.
I normally go into the changing rooms. I have my bag that I use, like dry bag, my wet bag. I sort out my bags. I make sure that I've got like, I normally take like 3 pairs of hats, 3 pairs of goggles, towel, clothes. I normally have 3 racing suits because I'm just get scared if like one's going to break. I normally have 2 training costumes just to make sure. Snacks. Normally, like I have dried mango in the core room. I don't know why, like it's just one of my routines that I do for a major. So I make sure I have my dried mango, make sure my music's on, like, and it's got enough battery. I normally do like 20 minutes of pre-pool, so foam roll, get myself body ready. I like to have about a 30-minute warm-up. So I know normally like each race that I do has a certain warm-up. So like my 400 free, it's a bit longer. So I make sure that I know what time my race is so I can work back. And then I normally get warmed up, like try and leave it till the last minute. They say like the best time is 45 minutes to get out the pool, and then to be racing is the best. And once I've finished warm up, I make sure I'm staying warm all the time. Like I've got socks on my feet. Normally at competition times, I sometimes have a hoodie. We have dry robes just to keep ourselves as warm as possible, because otherwise from the warm up to racing, if you lose all that heat, there's no point in doing a warm up. So I just try and stay warm, and then I try and like get my suit on. Like normally suit takes about 5 minutes, and then from suited I normally try and make sure I have plenty of time, because I don't like panicking for time. Talk to Billy, just to make sure like I know what I'm doing race wise, and then go to the core room. And I normally have my straps off, so I put my straps on in the core room, make sure my hat and goggles, I tighten my goggles, because one of my panics is that my goggles are going to get filled up with water. So I do that in the core room, make sure they're super tight. And just then sometimes listen to music on majors, and just try and like know what lane I'm going to be in as well, because I panic I don't know what lane I'm going to be in, so I like to know what lane I'm in. I also like to check like what event I'm doing as well. And like for a 400 free, like I'm always like to make sure I ask the ref, chaperone who's doing the warm up, doing the core room, how many lengths it is. Like I know I should know by now how many lengths it is.
It's just
but it's just that comfort thing, and it's just double checking that like in my head I'm always thinking like for IM I'm like it's fly back breast free, like I always have to run through that just to make sure. And then I try and just then I get called out, and I tap the block, make sure all that's clean, like try and just get ready and then get focused. Yeah, like I think I eat mango in the core room as well at majors, and just like I'm probably like I'm super nervous, but I'm trying to stick to a routine that I know what's comfortable. But even like now, like I've been racing for like um, so 2006, so years ago. I still have to double check like what event I'm racing and how many lengths it is, and I do it like every year and every event. But so I should know by now, but I still have to check.
No, it's whatever, like you say, control the controllables, whatever makes you certain and confident in your own mind, right? I
Yeah,
think that's
definitely.
no, thank you for being honest there. That's great. Um, what's been your biggest challenge in either in your swimming career or in life? What do you feel has been something you've had to really overcome?
Um, Biggest challenge, I would say, like looking back now, like in the time, one of my biggest like not regrets maybe, but one of my challenges was living away from home, for living away from like family life for all the time in Swansea. I think that was hard. Like at the time as a kid, you don't realize it, but actually I missed so much of my whole family life. So I think that was a challenge. Going into Rio was super hard for me. It was one of the like it was a the situation that we were in Manchester. So I moved from Swansea to Loughborough and then Loughborough to Manchester 2 years before the games in Rio. And the situation there, that was a huge challenge. We were, the British swimming at the time, some of the members of the staff were, not the best. They weren't understanding of us. And that put a negative spin on my swimming, and my mental state with swimming. I hated swimming. Like I remember going to the pool and just not wanting to be there because of the situation that we were in. Like walking into the pool side, we were just, you didn't know what mood the coach was going to be in. It was really tough. So I'd say that was one of my biggest challenges, just trying to because I didn't want to be at the pool. I didn't want to be there, and having to get ready and focus for what was my third Paralympic Games, and actually just not wanting to be at the pool. I think that was a big challenge. But then after Rio, I decided to take a year out from the swimming and the controlled environment and go traveling for a year. So I tried to just do that. But going into Rio was probably one of my biggest challenges in my career.
Thanks, Ella. So obviously you've achieved a hell of a lot over your career so far. What would you say is your greatest achievement, either inside or outside of the pool, that you look back on fondly?
My greatest achievement inside the pool was London 2012. Like I'm at my parents' now, and I'm going through like boxes of memories that I've kept from London, and like we've got all the paper cuttings and like all the bits going in towards London. And I don't know how like I coped with all the pressure of being at home games, and like there was posters of me everywhere during London. And looking back on London 2012 and being able to achieve, I swam the best that I ever did. I swam 4 races. I did PBs in heats and finals. I came away with 2 golds, a silver and a bronze. And to do all of that in a home Paralympics with all the pressure. And it was just the most amazing summer. I remember watching the Olympics and then knowing that it was going to be us in the Paralympics and how the country came together. I'd say that was one of my biggest achievements, London 2012, and having swimming the best that I've ever done, and getting the gold medals with standing on that podium and having 17,500 people sing the national anthem and cheer my name, and how I did it, and like it was some memories that I'll take to my grave. London was a summer that brought the nation together, and I was so proud to be part of it.
Amazing. Yeah, unforgettable, I'd
Oh, it
imagine.
was incredible.
So on the back of that, going away from your biggest achievement, what is your goal setting process like when you start every season? How do you go about setting your goals? the time frame of how you do them, and just the process of it, really.
Yeah, so normally I set long-term goals but also short-term goals. So for a Paralympic cycle, it's majority of the time it's 4 years. So I like for the 4-year cycle, I know that Paralympics is going to be the end goal and to qualify for that. So but then after that I do a year goal setting. So for January of 2020, I set my goals were to qualify for the Paralympics. We get our qualification times, and my goals were to hit those qualification times, and then after that qualify and then go to a games. I think as I've got older it changes. So when I was younger it was to look at doing personal bests. Now as a 25-year-old, my PBs, it's harder to achieve those. But I try and look in ways in which I can achieve my PBs. And then that then affects the short-term goals, because then it's week in, week out, how are you going to achieve those long-term goals. So normally I like to write down, like I have my diary that's always with me no matter what, like this. And in there is my goals for like what I want to achieve in the pool, long-term goals plus short-term goals. But normally writing them down at the start of the year is what I do. But then I have long-term goals, and then my short-term goals are swim 9 times a week, get this time faster, and bit more muscle in the gym. Like it's just little things that I look at to achieve those long-term goals.
Perfect. Thanks, Ellie. So next question: what inspires you, or who inspires you? You mentioned
No,
something earlier.
yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
What or who inspires you?
Um,
Well, when you were younger, or at this point
yeah.
in
So
your
I
career?
always another person. I always looked up to Michael Phelps. He was
Mhm.
like one of my, as a swimmer, as a child swimmer. He's the legend, isn't he? He's the legend of all legends in swimming world, and he even is now still retired when he's retired. And I always looked up to him, achieving those medals in Beijing, getting those gold medals, Rio, London. He was a guy that always inspired me. And then finally, when I met him, he was just like the nicest guy. And he was, so to meet a childhood hero who's also lovely, it puts an icing on the cake. And I think now as a 25-year-old, but a lot older in the sport, I don't have any real people that I inspire to. I love like the likes of Serena Williams, Rafael Nadal, Lewis Hamilton, people who are greats, that they're still carrying on no matter what. They're not just achieving in the tennis or in the sporting world, they're achieving outside, and they're inspiring that nation, they're women and men to do great things. But at the moment, no, I don't have anyone who I really inspire to. Just the whole sporting world, but also away from the sporting world, the likes of Greta Thunberg, David Attenborough, all those types of people, they inspire me to help the environment and stuff.
Brilliant, brilliant. So what does a typical day or week look like for you training-wise during this lockdown?
Oh, during this lockdown, okay. Um, it changes actually. I'm really lucky. Like at the moment, I haven't got too much of a routine compared to like what I normally do at home. But I try and on Monday to Saturday morning, I set my alarm for 7 o'clock in the morning. I normally make coffee. I'm normally doing gym or something by 9 o'clock. I make sure I'm always doing that. So actually, I have got a bit of a routine, yeah. So gym or cycle or yoga or whatever there is. I know that I'm like at my best, my most productive in the morning, so I try and get a good workout or something in the morning. So I normally do that 9 till about 10:30, and then in the days I have meetings. I'm on the board of like the Commonwealth Games, doing like stuff for like TV, so I'm helping that out. So in the day I'm normally doing that, and then in the afternoon I try and go on a really long walk for like an hour, or get out in some sense. And then in the evenings, it's like just being with the family. Like we're watching things like started rewatching all of Peaky Blinders, so I'm watching that. Just in the evenings, then I'm just like, because that's when I get tired. That's the time where I like binge watch TV.
Oh, brilliant. No, I love Peaky Blinders too.
Oh, it's so good. It's like my favorite. I'm like trying to ration it out, so I've got to season 5, but an
I've just
episode.
finished season 5 now.
Oh, it's so
Uh,
good. I think my
it's
favorite season is 2 at the minute.
okay.
Love
Rock and roll.
2, but yeah, can't. Yeah, it makes you want to be a Shelby brother in the
A
Shelby.
lot of people walking around with the granddad caps
Yeah,
now, right?
yeah, it's really good.
And I'm guessing we're two of the only people who can understand them as well.
Yeah, the
So,
accents.
uh,
Makes me proud to be
nice.
from Brummie, Birmingham.
Yeah. Um, so, what is your favourite or most important exercise to do whilst outside the pool?
What I'm really enjoying, I'm actually my favorite thing at the moment is I've got like a static bike, so like it's not a watt bike, but it's like one of those bikes. And what I'm really enjoying that. So like 45, uh, 50 minutes. It's quite nice because I can like listen to music or I can watch a program, but doing the exercise at the same time. So I think that's my favorite thing at the minute because you in like normally in the swimming pool you're just you and your mind, but like being able to exercise while watching TV is pretty. I quite like it, and it gets me a sweat on as well. Like it's helping me. So, and I'm also enjoying doing yoga too. That's one of my things. But bike, I think that's the same as swimming. Like you can push yourself.
I think no, I do the same actually. I've got
Yeah.
my watch in my living room over there. And I think one of the positives to come out of this lockdown is the use of online training, such as
Oh,
yoga and all the other things we've been able to tap into that maybe we can still continue to use when we go back. So no,
yeah.
that's great. Thanks for that.
Really good.
How do you feel about the Paralympic Games postponement? What impact has that had on you personally? And on top of that, how has it affected your motivation going forward?
Yeah. So January 2020 was the start of the Olympic and Paralympic year. As an athlete training for it in the summer, that's all your goals were. And now it would have been my 4th games, and I had a plan where I was going to swim January till September and then retire. That was going to be my plan. And when all that goes out the window, like when we had the news that trials were cancelled, then the games were cancelled, it was really hard to take. Like I'm not going to lie, it was all this plan that I had just gone out the window, and all that training that you'd done for an amazing summer, yeah, was just gone. Um, and it's trying to get your head around now that you've got to do it for another year. It's quite a hard thing to take because in December time in winter training, I was like kept saying to myself, "Oh, this is my last winter training. Like, just think next Christmas, I'm gonna be able to have a Christmas at home. I'm gonna be able to like come January, I'm gonna be able to like travel. I'm gonna be able to do lots of things." So it's like trying to change your mindset that you've just got to do it for another year, and it is hard. Like my emotions have been roller coasters really. Some days I'm like up, I'm so motivated for the summer, when for next summer the Olympics, Paralympics, and then sometimes I'm like, oh, can I do it for another year? It's going to be tough. And I think at the moment, not to make the rational things, like it's life's not normal, and it's okay to have days when you're feeling not the best or when you're feeling good. So it's hard. And motivation, I think my motivation at the moment is just to keep ticking over, just keep as fit as I can, so when the time does come that lockdown ends, that it's easier to get back into the pool.
Brilliant. No, thank you for that. I think everybody's dealing with it in their own way, right? But
Yeah, definitely.
it's key to just find what works for you, and like I say, keep ticking over until we can make rational decisions on things.
Yeah, extremely. Yeah, definitely.
So I've got two more questions for you, and
Yeah.
then I'll let you be. Uh, What three pieces of advice would you give to the younger swimmers out there now? Knowing what you know, what are the three key pieces of advice you'd give?
To soak it all in, to enjoy it. Like what swimming brings, the team environment as a youngster, it your best friends that you grow up with who are in your swimming team will probably be your best friends for life. It's a sport that brings so much, it brings everyone together much more. Like my best friends that who are now were my best friends that I was teammates with in 2008. Like, and it's that connection and just being in the moment with all of them and realizing how amazing it is to be part of such a great team. And just to soak it all in, because swimming is incredible, and you just got to enjoy it. Like, and there is days when you're gonna think, oh gosh, I don't want to get out, I don't want to get up for training at 5:30 in the morning. But once you're there, it's great, it's fun. Like, it's you pushing your body to its limits, you getting the opportunities that most people don't do. You're good at something, so just embrace that talent and keep going and keep doing it. It's going to be hard, you're going to be tired, but things don't come easy. And have fun. I always say, like, have fun. I think if you're not enjoying it, what's the point? But there's a lot of things you can get from, and look at getting in towards that enjoyment. Like, so have fun, push yourself. Sometimes you're gonna have to make sacrifices. Like, there's some things that you might have to miss school friends, catching up after school, but 2 hours of fun swimming with teammates that we've got around us, and especially in our team, Adam, in the gold team, gold,
Yeah.
performance gold. Like, it's so fun. We have laughs, and we've got the likes of Drew, we've got Amir, bringing so much positivity and having fun. Like, just it's 2 hours of training just disappear.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you. So, to end it finally, so what does the future look like for Ellie Simmonds, and what are your aspirations outside of swimming?
So I think hopefully to go to a fourth games would be amazing in the pool. But outside the pool, I love to become a primary school teacher. So teach abroad. I'm actually having, during this lockdown period, I'm looking at starting a course towards that. I'm actually looking for like visas into Australia, because I'd love to live abroad, or not just Australia, but teach at international schools abroad. So I think maybe stick away from the swimming side, but to live and travel abroad and experience different cultures, but teaching kids, that's what I'd like to do.
That's amazing. Well, no, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to speak to me and to share your story with Camden Scottish Swimming Club. Thank you very much, Ellie.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for all your questions and everything. And I hope you all continue to stay safe. And I'm sure we'll be back as a team soon.